Okay, here we go. We all remember what happened last time, bitches.
Nerd!
Yeah. As far as launches go, Diablo 3 is a low bar to be held to. But, if I might toot my own horn, much of what happened to Diablo 3 after launch was exactly as I predicted.
These kind of games actually work really well with a controller. The PS4, Xbox One editions will undoubtedly fix the stuttering issue. No auction house! Giving them the opening they need to fix the game's horrific balance issues. Local co-op for offline couch play.
So yeah, if I say it, it be so, bitches. And on a personal note, once Diablo 3 had years, and I do mean years, to get everything right and add the fucking necromancer, then I did what probably all of you did. Poke at it on and off for years, like all previous Diablos. It was good. It was fun. It was finally kind of Diablo. So is this kind of Diablo? Sure, it's kind of Diablo. I mean, just look at it. It's fucking Diablo. So let's go from the good to the bad to the rest. And starting with good, most of Diablo 3's launch issues are kind of gone. First and foremost, the game fucking works. It's a low bar, I know, but Diablo 3 thought it was a limbo competition.
God, I hope he wins.
Especially these days, half of what comes out might as well be Diablo 3 launch edition. I mean, Jesus. But I mean, look, you can log in. That's half the battle right there. Sure, in the first month I got booted 2 or 3 times, but I was back in less than a minute and it hasn't happened since, so as far as server growing pains go, that's about as perfect a record as you could ask for. And unlike Diablo 3, the console version released alongside PC. So for many, if not most players, there's no Blizzard installer. No fucking fuck you Blizzard installer. Also, well, just look at it. Looks good. Still dark as fuck on my newish capture card. Why is the 60S plus so dark? But the actual game looks fine. It's the same engine as Diablo 2 Resurrected, which was effectively a showpiece demo for Diablo 4, which one would assume would work just as well for a Diablo 1 remake? Blizzard? Bitches? I want OG Diablo back. It's still probably my favorite Diablo, and something I can pretty much only play using a PS1 disc on PS3. And even then, saving your game takes as long as loading GTA 5 on the same fucking console. Yeah, I know it's on GOG now, but I'm using a 10-year-old trash can Mac, and booting Windows 10 on that thing is a fucking pain. It runs well. See, look, no constant choppy stutters at launch this time. 60 FPS, bitches. And no auction house, which means no auction house-induced loot scarcity, pushing the player to use the auction house. Although loot, especially in the endgame, does seem overabundant, at least as far as rare and legendaries go, becoming a little too reminiscent of the overcorrected Diablo 3 loot once they revamped it after removing the auction house. I still think the original Diablo had the best balance in this regard, probably because you had less inventory space and they didn't want to fill it up every 5 seconds. And since this ain't Diablo Immortal, the only paid currency is for cosmetics and Battle Pass, which is mostly cosmetics. And speaking of cosmetics, just look at this shit. The art style has definitely gone back to the dark drabbiness of the first two, especially the original, and I'm for the most part happy with this. Some of the more MMO elements blend in pretty naturally, like communal world bosses and Legion events. This is a better use of the always online requirement than anything Diablo 3 had going at launch. Elite enemies have more balanced abilities this time around, and are far less bullshitty than last time. And above all, no purple bullshit. That fucking purple bullshit. I'm still not really interested in making a hardcore character, but I kinda get it now. But anyone who made a hardcore character in Diablo 3 with that purple shit is a fucking masochist.
Whoa! What the fuck happened?
What the fuck?
Oh shit.
I'm dead! Fuck!
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. Diablo 4 actually released with its endgame, instead of adding it in pieces over many, many years. There's a lot of endgame goals that create overlapping incentives. Oh look, this sigil dungeon I haven't done yet will also get me a new enchantment aspect, and is overlapping with a side quest. That's 3 for 1! Yay, incentives! Oh look, this endgame tree quest overlaps with literally anything else I have to do in this area, which can include other endgame stuff like Helltides. Game loop, bitches! Oh look, I'm upgrading multiple things like armor, potions, and runes. I'm achieving multiple goals at once. Yay, incentives. Yay, game loop! For me personally, the brightest spot, as I'm sure you can tell by this footage, is they actually launched with the Necromancer, instead of waiting 5 fucking years. Still gets me. I played a bit with other characters like a sorceress and a barbarian, and they played pretty well. Part familiar, part new mechanics, especially the barbarian. They've changed a lot when it comes to his equipment. He's a walking Swiss Army knife now. But I think we all know what I'm here for, and that's where most of my time's been spent. Yeah, bitches. Exploding corpses never gets old. Yeah. I like what they've done with the Necromancer. They took a lot of the busy work out of revives, basically replacing them with more modifiable skellies. It all works pretty well. And the new armor enchantment system, mixed with the new Paragon node system, pretty much makes for the greatest minion build of any Diablo. My skelly's ridiculous. That, and since launch, every class that isn't Necro keeps getting nerfed, while Necros keep getting buffed. And I'm okay with that. Starting a new character in general is much more streamlined this time around, allowing you to keep some overworld benefits like finding statues that frankly no one wants to do twice. You know you looked up where those last 10% were. It's okay. We all did. This isn't Zelda. You can even skip the campaign with subsequent characters, which I greatly appreciated. I'm not saying the campaign is bad. As far as story goes, it might be the best campaign Diablo's ever had. But that isn't really saying much, is it?
And then they said, okay, well, we're done. We've finished the final cinematic. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can't wait to see the You've Killed Diablo cinematic. And so they sent it up, and we look at it, and we're all crowded around the desk, and we're looking at this thing, and then he jams the gem in his forehead, and all of us are like, what the hell did we just watch? What was that? That doesn't make any sense at all. Is that cool? Okay, well, whether or not that really worked, or what it means, or what it meant at the time, or did it, no, it didn't make sense, and that's, you know, that's just the way it was.
Yeah. Your new characters also get to start with all the horses, money, and crafting resources you already have, streamlining pretty much everything. Good job, Blizzard. There's some randomized events that show up here and there. They mix pretty well with whatever you're doing, if whatever you're doing is harvesting enemy stuff, like glowy shit, or cinders, or any other game loopy shit.
Oh, again with the
Game loop. There's a PvP area, it's got its own PvP currency and some skin unlocks, but whatever, you probably won't spend that much time there. Ultimately, the best thing about Diablo 4 is that it doesn't need years of work to be Diablo. It's already functional Diablo at launch. But functional doesn't mean perfect, and that means it's time for the bad. Constant NPC glitches during quests were a pain, and it felt like it needed another 2 to 4 weeks in the cooker. Or I don't know, maybe the game is just so big they needed the public to look for glitches like crowdsourcing. I don't know how big their bug testing team was. There were also some map glitches early on, showing things like hell tides available when they were already over, but most of that stuff seems to be patched after the first month or two. I haven't encountered anything like that in a while. One thing that always bothers me in any server-based game, no pause. Even in solo instances. Yeah, I get the MMO aspects, I mean, you can't pause an overworld full of people, but a solo dungeon? Really? Even Call of Duty lets you pause server-based zombie maps if you're playing solo. Now I'm solo in an instance dungeon, and I can't fucking pause!
I need more time.
Ugh. This is particularly annoying in sigil dungeons that have irritating dungeon traits that constantly crawl up your ass and go boom. I can't take my hand off the controller to scratch my ass or I'll explode or something. Ugh. And honestly, if I could play solo without other people running around the world, I would. At least for everything except the community events, which frankly could have been localized PvE areas instead of making the whole overworld like that. But they want it to be MMO-ish, so meh. Also, with all the new mechanics, the game doesn't always explain everything that clearly. I didn't realize what a skeletal priest was until I was level 60-ish. And as I discovered when Googling it, it wasn't just me. And as much as I like the more classic Diablo drabbiness,
So dark and cold.
do 3 out of 5 areas really have to be either desert tundra or frozen tundra? It's just so much tundra. Flora bitches. At least this area is kind of different. I don't know, kind of pretty. One thing this game hasn't made great strides in over Diablo 3 is busy work, especially in town. Equipping new items means managing a lot, especially in the endgame when all your shit has legendary aspects on it. Just getting one new aspect means moving most of the other aspects around to make it fit, and between all the enchanting and aspect extraction and math, it can bring everything to a grinding halt. It goes from Diablo to Tetris meets Sports Manager Sims. Finding one good item or aspect can mean half hour of accounting. I'm just saying it's a lot of busy work. A lot. Especially when it comes to gems. I mean, Jesus Christ. I cannot believe they launched without a gem bag. They're adding one in a month or whatever, but it should have been there at launch. Blah. And while the real money store is just cosmetic, the pricing is fucking ridiculous. Most of these skin sets cost half as much as the game itself. And this isn't exactly Fortnite, where you can, you know, see your character and other people's characters. No, this is Diablo. Isometric, wide view Diablo. Can you even tell what the fuck anyone else is wearing? I mean, look at those gloves. Totally worth 25 bucks, am I right? And a personal pet peeve, as someone who identifies as a necromancer, the golem AI needs glasses. What the fuck are you doing? It's important to remember that everything isn't good or bad. Some things are just kind of there, like seasons. I'll be honest, I don't give two shits about seasons. They're good for Fortnite and MMOs, not so much for RPGs. In the past, new content the developers worked on would either be expansions or free DLC, like in Diablo 3, which did also have seasons that were poorly explained until you googled it, much like this time, but I just couldn't care about seasons. The game is pretty huge as is, and getting any character to level 100 isn't something you'll blaze through like hitting the level cap in Diablo 3. The idea of making a new seasonal character that reverts to a base character afterwards seems like a waste of time to me, and I don't want a second necromancer, because, you know, I fucking have one already. I've been kind of stunned at the negative reception, quote-unquote, hardcore players have had so far, especially when it comes to seasons. Something I think most players will probably ignore, since the amount of time the base game takes is already pretty substantial. And Diablo isn't something most people will play all at once, especially with multiple characters. It's a game most people will poke at over the next decade or so, until Diablo 5. You know, like they did with Diablo 3. It almost seems like modern hardcore Diablo players are more akin to Call of Duty or Destiny or MMO players. You know, people who play mostly one game all year round. Like, did you really reach level 100 with every class already and you just have nothing left to do? How is that possible? Unless you literally never did anything else, including sleep. I don't get it. Like, am I not hardcore enough? I started with the original Diablo at launch. That's not hardcore enough. I even played Hellfire. Remember Hellfire?
Oh my God, really? You're gonna bring that up? We had a design doc. They didn't follow it. They made a teddy bear quest. I was fucking pissed. They didn't listen to us, so that's, what can you do? I just kind of have disavowed it.
Yeah. Gina Davis Award.
I don't think I get it.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Because after what happened last time, yeah, you're doing all right.
I know it's working!
Can't be worse than this. Seems to work okay.